All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and today we're talking about being short-staffed at the shop. Now this topic comes up because, unfortunately for this week, Bam Bam and Zach were both on vacation. I had nothing to do with it. There was a screw up with scheduling and they both were off this week, and yeah, made it fun for everybody else. Now there's lots of shops out there that are constantly understaffed for various reasons. How do you deal with it? Now, in fact, this week we were also short-staffed, me for one day. My daughter was graduating from high school with everything going on. They scheduled it on a Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. So I got to sit in a high school football stadium in July for several hours while they went through and awarded, high school graduation. Not fun, but it was awesome seeing my daughter graduate. So it was really a difficult week for the shop because, well, at one point we were 3 guys down. That's almost half our staffing. Obviously here at this shop, staffing, being full staff is important because we deal with a lot of cars. I mean, a lot of cars. And with us being short-staffed, we had to cut down on the amount of appointments we took simply because we can only get to so much. While it's not a horrible thing for the techs that are here because everybody's billing buckets of hours, but it's a lot of stress. If you've ever been in a shop that's short-staffed, you're going a little too fast, stuff starts going wrong. It's easy for there to be a cascade effect. And unfortunately, we haven't had too much trouble this week, but it's not hard for that to happen. It's easy for, just stuff to go wrong because you're rushing a little too much. And no, it puts a lot of stress on us as technicians. It puts a lot of stress on the front staff because they've got to tell customers, you're not getting your car today. Sorry, we just don't have enough time. We're going to have to push it tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And it's unfortunately one of the issues that kind of plagues our industry. If you're in a shop that has personnel issues, sometimes there's a reason. Sometimes there's just you can't get the right person to fill that slot, and it always puts more stress on the good employees stuck there trying to deal with it. So it's one of those problems in this industry that's never going to go away, unfortunately. We've got a good staff here. Timing somehow screwed up, and both of them wound up on trips that couldn't be canceled. So it is what it is, and we're just dealing with it. As shop management knows, Kurt Kennedy was like, when I talked about it in a Facebook post, he's like, how the heck did that happen? Wasn't me. Just saying. But anyway, a friend of mine who's actually been promoted to shop foreman at a shop I used to work at, actually. I've known him for years on IATN, and he moved up to Atlanta and worked at one shop. They wound up closing one of their locations. He went to work for a shop that I used to work at, but the management at the store itself has completely changed multiple times, so they're incredibly short-staffed. He's got one tech out that actually I worked with. I knew he's out with an eye injury for several weeks, and their diesel tech, who's the former shop foreman, is leaving to go drive a Matco truck, and he's trying to get techs to work in the shop, and he's having a lot of trouble. It happens in this industry. Dealing with it, it's got to be a balancing act between taking all the cars you can and want versus the work you can actually put out. So unfortunately, when you are short-staffed, you have to plan for it, because no matter how you look at it, here we've got 7 techs and we've got 2 out. You know, that's a chunk of our staff that's not here. You know, that's 100, 110, 120 hours that can't be billed, or only part of that can be taken up by the rest of the guys. There's just no way that we can fill that void of that much work. It's just not possible. So as management, you got to kind of figure out the right balance. And that's one of the things when you're scheduling anyway, is you've got to figure out the right balance of car count versus technician load. And one of the things that I deal with on a daily basis is, you know, I've got so many cars coming in, and I've got techs with, you know, these jobs sold, got techs with, you know, nothing on the board, and I've got to balance, you know, getting all those cars through the shop and dealing with, you know, whatever problems crop up and tow-ins and non-appointments and all that stuff. And it can get a little, you know, I don't want to say stressful, but it can get to a little, you know, pulling your hair out kind of stress. As a technician, you can only do so much, and sometimes management understands that, sometimes they don't. So I know as a technician it can be extremely frustrating. As a shop foreman, it can be extremely frustrating. And I assume as a service manager, it can be extremely frustrating. But, you know, having a shortage of techs at the shop, you know, it goes in with this industry. You know, you pull a guy in, you hire somebody that's supposed to be good, they show up and you realize he's trash, get him out of here, and then you move on to the next guy and you keep trying to fill that role, trying to find that right technician, and sometimes it takes a long time. I mean, I was just talking to the boss here. At one point, we had a mass exodus of techs and a service writer. We had 3 techs leave and 1 service writer leave. Now, at that point, I was not shop foreman, and it was really toxic in the shop. We had one technician that was abrasive, to say the least. We had another technician that was abrasive, and the two fed off each other, and let's just say it was really miserable in the shop. And luckily, when the toxicity left, the toxicity left. The shop became a completely different animal. We started, you know, we hired new people, we got some new blood in here that wasn't like that, and we started rocking and rolling, and it's been a steady climb since then. Between me and the boss, we've gotten our hiring down, so we not only find technicians that are qualified and actually good at what they do, but personality-wise, they fit in, which is one of the important things. We don't want that toxicity ever to come back in this shop. We want this atmosphere to be fun and enjoyable, and hopefully that alleviates us having a mass exodus again, because while it was great for the atmosphere of the shop, it sucked because, well, our Eurotech was one of those guys that left, so I wound up doing Euro, which now it doesn't matter, but at that point, it was a big change. So I hope you enjoyed this rambling mess of a video. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.